Minnesota sports leader, KFAN, The Fan.
All we needed was a miracle, and we got it. Kirk Cousins with not one but two game-winning drives at the end of yesterday's game.
Hell yeah, Beavis.
One of them didn't quite work out because of a missed field goal, but that was still a game-winning drive with, 39 seconds? Mm-hmm. If we make that field goal, we win in walk-off fashion, in regulation. But alas, it takes a dynamite drive in overtime by your quarterback. And the Vikings are 3-3, and we are headed into the bye. Luckily, we're headed to the phones right now. Can you punch them up over there?
Course.
Do you have ability to do that? Thanks to our friends at Hy-Vee. Hey, CJ.
What's going on?
It's good to talk to you. Before we get into talking about football, I want to do a little thing where we rub it in just for 1 second, if you don't mind. And I'll tell you why. You'll understand this in just 1 second. Yesterday, when I was walking out of the facility there in Charlotte, I looked over and you were sitting at a table enjoying what was, in my opinion, some of the best brisket I've ever had in my life.
Lucky.
Now, while you and I were enjoying this lovely dinner, Ben was barely making it to the airport to get on a plane. He didn't get to eat. In fact, I believe he said he had beef sticks. So just for a second, could we rub it in? How great was that macaroni and cheese and brisket we had yesterday?
It was phenomenal, Ben. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to.
Suck.
You had to miss that. I'm sorry.
It was so good. That barbecue sauce was
It
just
looked
tangy.
good.
It was so good.
Yeah, we walked past it, and I go to Burson and go, "Are you not going to get any food?" And the line, there was like 10 people in the line. It's like, we'll just have to get at the airport. I'm like,
yeah, it was
Oh,
really good.
worst.
And there was CJ just sitting at a table by himself. I gave him knuckles because I was afraid his hands were covered in barbecue sauce and I didn't want to get all dirty. But CJ, in all seriousness, congratulations on the win yesterday. I don't think you probably have gotten a chance to hear your run yesterday. But if you don't mind, I would love to play your very long run yesterday because it was fun to see and fun to hear as well. CJ Ham for 29.
And Cousins hands it to C.J. Ham.
Look at him go!
And look at C.J. get loose left side, 40-50. Into Panthers territory to the 40. C.J. Ham with a long run of 29 yards, by far the longest of his career. In fact, the longest by 20. He runs the Vikings out of trouble. Fresh 4 from the Carolina 40.
CJ, as a fullback, when you get the ball, most of the time you're looking for 1 or 2 yards, and there's not much of a hole there. You just got to get it done. Were you shocked to see the hole just go wide for you like that?
I'm just playing ball. Obviously it's 3rd and 1. I've been called upon a handful of times this year to get 3rd and 1, and our offensive line blocks great. Everybody crashed down. And I was able to sneak off tackle, and everybody on that play did their job, and I was able to make something happen.
CJ, right before that drive, there was a blocked punt by the Panthers that resulted in a touchdown. You guys go back out on the field. What's the message in the huddle on that drive?
Really, we got to answer. We know that's a play for any team that gets a blocked punt, let alone a touchdown off of it. We just got to go out there as an offense, as a special teams unit, and just answer that call. And on that drive, we were able to do that. We marched down the field and got some points.
Speaking of messages, as Sauce was just saying about that final drive, I want to go back before the game even started and really during the course of the week. We all knew publicly that Clint Kubiak was sort of challenged by Mike Zimmer to go back and self-scout and do these things and figure out what was going on with the non-scoring in the second half. Did you guys as players have conversations? Was there extra concentration or intent this week with practice, knowing that this was going to be a big week for your coordinator?
Yeah, in the sense of it's the next game. It's the next game. We know we have to, we have to go out there and play well. We're playing against one of the top defenses in the entire league, statistically. So we knew we had our work cut out for us, and Clint put together a wonderful game plan. Dalvin, Kirk, all the receivers. They all played phenomenal yesterday, and executed the game plan perfectly.
Well, speaking of, I know a lot of people had individually great performances. Yourself played well, Thielen played well, Conklin played well. Kirk obviously played well, KJ, all that stuff. But so much of this of the attention I think has been on the offensive line, and it seems like the offense, the success, it ebbs and flows in how they play. They gave up 0 sacks yesterday, and I get that Kirk had to elude 1 potential sack, but that's got to happen in every game. Could you just give us, your words and your perspective from your eyes on like how those guys have played, and then maybe if you saw anything from Darisaw himself?
I mean, our offensive line has stepped up to the challenge. Every single time there's been a challenge, they've stepped up to it and have taken pride in making sure they put their best foot forward in that challenge. And yesterday they definitely did that. Like I said, we were going against a great defense. Defense that has playmakers, defense that has great edge rushers, and our offensive line took pride in their work, and we got it done.
CJ, got the bye week coming up. You guys don't play for 13 days, and of course it's a night game against the Cowboys. Obviously, you're not going to go to like the Bahamas, but what does a bye week look like in terms of time off?
It's just a lot of family time. Making sure my body's healthy. If there's any extra attention I need to give my body for the bye week to get back. But other than that, it's just a lot of family time for me. Spending time with the kids, my wife, and just enjoying the time that we have. We've been going for a long time, ever since July. So it's definitely a nice break.
So speaking of family, did I see that your wife was at the game?
She was. She flew down. She made the day trip.
Nice. So why did she just pick that game? Is there like a family connection there? Is that a stadium that she wanted to check off her box? Like what was the reason behind her going to the Carolina game?
I really just think because she loves me, So,
does she travel to a lot of away games?
No, she's been to a handful of games.
Yeah.
It's just a game that lined up on the calendar. Carolina's a nice place to go this time of year, and it just worked out. My sister came down and watched the kids, and she was able to get there and back in one day.
CJ, this is kind of an odd question, but I brought it up at the very beginning of the show. I still have a lingering headache today from how loud the music was every time you guys got in the huddle. Now, I've been in some loud stadiums. You've been on the field in some very loud stadiums. But in most stadiums, for instance, Seattle, it's the loudest place I've ever been. But it's loud the entire time. The way they were piping that music in during the when you guys were in the huddle, am I just being overly sensitive, or was that ridiculously loud yesterday?
Looking back at it, there was a couple of times where Kirk was calling a play, and I had to lean in to really hear it. And most of the time it's crowd noise or whatever it is. You don't really pay attention to it, but it was definitely some loud music when we were in the huddle.
So we heard. I don't want to get on my soapbox, but I was not with you guys on the flight down there because I'm apparently not clean enough to be around you guys. But it sounds like you guys had a little bit of a rocky landing. Were you a little worried as you guys landed in Carolina that maybe you weren't going to play the game because you're going to crash?
Oh, I mean, for me, it's tough because I get pretty bad motion sickness. So I was struggling a little bit. We had some turbulence and some stuff going on, but we landed and we're all safe, and I'm back home, so it's all good.
CJ, when he hit the gas to go around again, I almost hit the gas myself, if you know what I mean. That was a tough one, man.
It was. It's funny because Dalvin had just woke up and he looked over at me and he asked me if I was okay because I was holding the water bottle up to my forehead because I was getting hot.
Oh, man, that was a rough one. But, props to the pilot, right?
Yeah,
hell yeah. No doubt about it.
CJ, last one for me. You guys found out earlier in the week that Christian McCaffrey wasn't going to be out, but that would have been a cool matchup with two of the best running backs on the field at the same time.
Definitely. I mean, Dalvin, he went out and did what Dalvin does. And to no surprise, it's like he didn't even miss a beat, and it's special to see. But McCaffrey's a great running back too, so that would have been a fun matchup. Our defense was definitely ready for that, and I just wish him the most health in his recovery and with whatever he's dealing with.
CJ, last thing, and it's the bye week, so another thing, you don't have to play this week. You get some time out practice, and you don't have to talk to us next Monday either, which is another big thing for you, I'm sure, on the bye week. But before I let you go, can I ask you an odd question? Were you the one who made the coin flip call in overtime, or was that Dalvin?
I had the responsibilities this week.
Okay, so I'm going to play you something right now. I doubt you'll be able to hear it very well, but there are these things out there in nature that are magic, and this is one of them. If you tell yourself, well, CJ said tails, you're going to hear tails. If you tell yourself CJ said heads, you're going to hear heads. Which one did you say?
Tails never fails.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. Now tell yourself in your head, before I play you this audio, tell yourself in your head that you said heads, because I guarantee you're going to hear heads. It's the weirdest thing, and I know this is an odd thing, but listen to this, CJ.
Called tails. Called tails.
If you tell yourself you said heads, you'll hear heads. If you tell yourself you said tails, you'll hear tails. It's one of the weirdest things, and we've had a couple of things like this on the show before, but we can say it right now. You said tails because tails never fails, and you won the game because of it. So another reason we thank you this morning, CJ.
Oh, gosh. I appreciate it, y'all.
You got it, man.
Thanks, CJ.
Appreciate it, man.
You're the
See you
best.
later, dude.
Have
See
a
you,
good
man.
bye week.
Bye-bye. One of the best guys ever right there, CJ Ham. Do you hear that, though? Listen to this. I'm going to play you the whole thing. I'll play you this short thing again. Now, again, out there in your car, wherever you're at, tell yourself that he's going to say heads. Okay? Tell yourself he's saying heads. Ready? Here we go.
Called tails.
Yeah, I heard heads.
You heard heads, right? Now tell yourself he said tails.
Tails.
Say it in your head. He said tails. He said tails. Here we go. He says tails.
Called tails.
I heard heads again.
Did you hear heads again?
Yeah.
Try it again. Tails. Ready?
Called tails.
I heard heads again.
That's weird because
Yeah.
he definitely says tails.
Because yesterday when I was sent that, I heard both.
Yeah.
It's weird now. Maybe it's, I don't know. But
Do you
yeah.
hear both, Ben? Are you getting
So
it?
when you played this when I walked in, I heard because I remember, because I always to make the note on my notebook who wins the coin toss, whatever. So I was paying attention. I heard tails in my headset. Didn't think anything of it. Come in this morning and you guys are playing me that. The very first time, like, oh, he did say heads.
Yeah.
But then after that, as you said, like, hey, play a little mind trick where you say, just think about tails. I can only hear tails now.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah,
but more so on the longer version.
Okay, I'll play
On
the
the
longer.
longer
Play the
version,
long
I can
version.
hear tails much more clearly than that clipped up version.
Okay, I'm going to play you the whole thing, and you decide whichever one you want him to hear, and that's what you're going to hear.
Good afternoon, captains. NFL coin. The helmet is heads. The NFL insignia is tails. Minnesota's your call. What's your call? Called tails.
Yeah, there I heard tails. Yeah.
I heard heads there.
It is tails.
Yeah.
You've won the toss.
Weird, man. That's on the Power Trip page at
Greasy.
KFAN.com right now. Play this game with your friends all day long because you're going to hear it different every time. It's on the Power Trip page at KFAN.com. By the way, Sauce, I forgot to tell you this. Maybe I said it on the, do you know who told me to tell you hi yesterday?
No.
Absolutely no one.
Brilliant.
Dude, I
Man,
love that joke. Dude,
Zach,
I love that joke. Dude, I love that joke.
Is that a Brett Favre bit?
It's Brett Favre, man.
Zach fell for that hook line, and as Mark Parrish would say, thinker.
Yeah.
He fell for that so hard yesterday.
Dude,
I love it.
I love it. Hagen told me that was a Favre thing. He would walk up to people and go, "Oh my gosh, by the way, do you know who told me to say hi to you?"
Brilliant.
Or no, who? Absolutely no one.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's my favorite joke.
And then the
God,
responses yesterday on text messages were brilliant because, of course, it goes power trip on it.
Hey,
It's
it
just
got
disgusting.
got worse and worse.
Yeah, it's
throughout
funny,
the-
though.
Anyway, there you go. Man, I wish I'd gotten to hang out with Brett Favre. It must have been fun like
same.
that all the time, huh?
Yeah, it was comedy, man. Like he was a funny dude, but there's a lot of funny guys in the locker room. But he was one of those guys that would do that. And the thing is, I haven't heard that joke, but just letting people know what his personality is like. He would say that joke across the locker room for everybody to hear.
Brilliant.
So like if you're on the opposite corner, he'd be like, "Hey Hawk, you know who says hi?
Who?
Who? Absolutely no one." And like
Brilliant.
He would play that that joke not just in a small group, but he played it for everybody. And that's the way he was. And so it was, So immediately
and
when he walked,
Favre, you laugh. Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, there is the obligatory, everybody does it. Like if you're around your boss, you're going to give the extra chuckle or laugh, and when it's not even like really funny at all. So there is the obligatory, just like respectful laugh. But like, no, he truly was he was a ripper, man.
Yeah.
He would just rip on people. Everybody would laugh about it. I won't tell this story, but yeah, you guys actually know this story. I can just tell you again off air, but yeah, man, even if it was at someone else's expense in sort of a mean way, he would do it.
I can't wait
Would you do me a favor? And I don't even know, because I know how close you are to Childress, but
Brilliant.
You mentioned yesterday you were standing in a certain spot. Are you allowed to talk about that? The Favre Childress spot?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
no,
cool.
I mean, that was,
Now,
let's
talk
I can
about
talk
when we come
about
back.
it.
Yeah,
that was not even a big deal. It was just like, I forget, because it was a night game, I forget that was the stadium in which, basically Favre told him to pound sand because Chili wanted to pull him off the field.
Yeah.
And I was kind of standing in the exact same location in which the offense was on the field.
Well, let's talk more about that when we come back, because that's interesting. And it was such a weird day yesterday. I didn't have time to ask you about that, but that's interesting. Go ahead.
I have an answer from Parrish.
Oh, Parrish got back to you as well about your tickets?
Yep.
I can't wait. All that and more. It's the Power Trip Morning Show. Gabe Henderson in the final segment today as well, right here on The Fan.
KFAN Total Traffic.
From the Holiday Station Stores Traffic Center, here's a look at the road.